Okay, this week we're putting together two topics that have absolutely nothing to do with each other than the fact that the definitions are relatively straightforward. Therefore, they are relatively brief in terms of our conversations, and therefore we can cram two of them together in 1 week. What we are going to start with is rhythm. In visual art, rhythm is a sense of anticipation that is created through repetition. So we have a kind of repetition that we use to build up an expectation within the viewer. We're actually still relying on the same parts of our brain that go all the way back to those Gestalt things that we've talked about all semester long. But essentially what we have with rhythm is you build up in this case, undulating series of lines. I am required by art law to show you a Bridget Riley painting when we are talking about rhythm. And because of the expansion and contraction of the thickness of the line, but also because of the way in which it repeats that expansion and contraction in a predictable manner, we build up a sense of rhythm. One of the things that artists can then do with that rhythm is play with it and have a sense of a rhythm that builds up, and then we switch it in some case. So an alternating rhythm is one where we have something, then something else, then something, then something else. So we go black, white, black, white. But in this case, we're also going curving to the right, curving to the left, curving to the right, curving to the left. What happens with this is that when she interrupts the pattern or the rhythm, we have a sort of visual surprise. We notice the big dot, we notice the big dot. We even notice those areas where she changes it. So our eyes sort of slide through the part that's predictable, and we get an exciting difference when we have the interruption. Sometimes we don't have the interruption. In this case, she is using that sense of rhythm to communicate a kind of undulating field that makes us slightly nauseous, but also does convey a sense of movement. And sometimes we're going to have an alternating rhythm, and we could have an alternating rhythm that isn't punctuated by these interruptions. But I'm showing you this one because we, as a university, actually own this. This is a print that is in the permanent collection over in the Alucar in the UCA. So be on the lookout for it the next time you get to go and look for art. Our final definition for rhythm is a progressive rhythm. A progressive rhythm is one that builds in subtle changes as we go along. So we anticipate not just the development of the repetition, but we also anticipate the way in which it changes. In this case, the angle of the avocado gets steeper as we move through the sequence. So we start with a relatively flat line. We wind up with a relatively steep line, but the progression is predictable as we move through there. In your sketchbook, I would like you to create one drawing that uses rhythm to convey a sense of motion. So you're going to have some form of building up the expectation of a rhythm through repetition so that we can get a sense of motion, long swooping lines, something like that. Then you're going to create one with an alternating rhythm. I do something else. I go back to that first one. I then do the second one again. You could do that with color, red, blue, red, blue. You could do it with shape, heart, diamond, whatever it is that you would want to do. And then you're going to create a third sketch with a progressive rhythm, a series of circles that get bigger, a series of circles that get darker. However it is that you want to change it, we're going to have a noticeable but predictable change that builds up a sense of rhythm.